This is music, and this is a bunch of first impressions from Down Under. Welcome to another first impressions video. In these videos I normally share with you my first impressions of the many blind buys I've picked up over the last couple of years. However, this is a special edition because in this video I will follow up on and share with you my first impressions of the contents of an amazing VCLT that I received earlier this year, 2023. From none other than the legend Metal Downunder, a fantastic channel here on YouTube. Go and check it out if you like hard rock, if you like metal, if you want to support women in metal, because there's a lot of support for female fronted metal and hard rock bands on that channel. It's a great channel. Go and check it out and subscribe if you don't know it. So I got a handful of CDs and some vinyl. Let's get down to business. So up first, some Kiwi Thrash / Melodeath here. 8-foot sativa, Breed the Pain. It is signed and everything, so that's awesome. So yeah, very thrashy stuff here, but to my ears, I would categorize this mainly as melodic death metal. And the cool thing about this is that it's not the watered down version of Melodeath that we know nowadays. This is from the heyday of Melodeath. So you got aggression, you got some brutality, you got the just high energy riffs that I like from kind of like old school, like late 90s, early 2000s melodic death metal. The vocals are harsh, they're a bit on the screechy side. You have lots of elements from thrash metal and lots of elements from extreme metal as well. So this is great stuff. I also love the song titles. You got Perpetual Torment. Another example is Mentally Castrated. There is Human Abattoir as another example. There's Brutal Revenge, and there is The Punishment Within. So lyrically, these guys are a bit more on the more brutal side of things than you might be used to in melodic death metal. So great stuff, like old school melodeath from before the genre got watered down, in my opinion. I really enjoy listening to this. Kind of got me interested in melodic death metal again, so there you go. Up next, more New Zealand music. So this is Kiwi hard rock, and it's Black Smoke Trigger, and it's called Set It Off, and again signed. How awesome is that? So this is modern hard rock with you know, the sort of modern production, so it sounds kind of heavier than kind of retro and old school hard rock. There's a lot of groove in some of the songs. You got some very cool riffs. The vocals are kind of mid-range and it fits the music very well. There's a kind of a cool twang to the guitar tone. So this is great stuff if you like just modern rock and modern hard rock, and you want it kind of quality. Check this out. I really enjoyed listening to this. Great stuff. Up next, more New Zealand music here. Devilskin live at the Power Station, also signed, which is awesome. And what's cool about this one is that you get a CD version and then you get a DVD version, so you can see, watch the show. And this is heavy metal, modern heavy metal, and it's rock and roll as fuck. They have chainsaws on stage at some point. There's a smoke gun, there's a drum solo, and there's not one but two sweaty guys with red beards and glistening bald heads. And if that's not rock and roll, I don't know what is. It's a fantastic show. The venue looks like it's a pretty cool venue. I just wish I was there in person to have experienced this. The audience seemed to be just all aboard, and the performance is fantastic. It's, like I said, it's modern heavy metal, so you do have some elements from traditional heavy metal, but it's a decidedly modern sound. And you have lots of influences from kind of like 90s metal, and we're not talking 90s glam metal, we're talking 90s alternative metal. Lots of groove, lots of heavy riffs, lots of really cool riffs actually. Great performance. These guys own the stage. The drum solo that's on here, normally I'm not a big drum solo fan, but I really like this drum solo on here because rather than just doing, you know, like 5 minutes of fill-ins, the drummer here, who is the son of the bass player, I think. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of a family thing as well. He does a lot of beats as part of the drum solo. And I noticed that there are lots of thrash metal beats, so I don't know if the drummer would like to play some thrash metal. I'm sure these guys could pull off some thrash songs. But a great show. I really like the bass tone, comes across very well. The guitar player, I think his name is Nail. You know, just some face melting rock and roll guitar solo. Some of them are quite bluesy too, which I really appreciate. And their vocalist has a really awesome singing voice. She's a belter. There's a kind of maybe a Vedder kind of nature to her voice, which I think is very cool. It fits the music very well. So this is a great show. Like I said, I wish that I was there to witness it in person. I will definitely see if I can pick up some albums by this band. It's a great band. Great show here, great musicianship, everything rocks. And I don't know if you can see that, but it says, "Love your work, Kim." I can now say, Devilskin, love your work too. So there you go. The last CD is a very cool 2-disc compilation, Rising from the Rubble. 2-disc compilation of New Zealand metal and hardcore. I have to say, I don't hear a lot of what I would consider hardcore, but there's a lot of metalcore, and I think it's just because the hardcore scene has moved in that direction. What I really like about this is that on disc 1, this is where you have a lot of the core stuff. So you have a lot of metalcore, you have some melodic death metal, some brutal death metal as well. So you have the more extreme stuff on here. And then on disc 2, you have the traditional metal, you have the hard rock, you have the glam metal, you have the doom metal, and the sludge. So I think that I probably find disc 2 to be more interesting than disc 1. There are some cool songs on disc 1 for sure, and the musicianship is impeccable, you know, in all the artists. It's just like, I'm not the biggest fan of metalcore. I don't have anything against metalcore as such, and I don't have anything against people who like metalcore, obviously. It just doesn't appeal to me that much. There are some of those songs on disc 1 that I do like, but disc 2 is where it's at for me. And it's very interesting to just hear a massive collection of New Zealand hard rock and metal and metalcore and hardcore and all that stuff. It says Dead Boy Records and the Kiwi Metal Bar proudly present. And you got the Kiwi Metal Bar logo here as well. So I don't know if is that a bar, an actual venue or bar where they have DJs playing metal, or maybe artists playing metal as well. That'd be really cool. Really interesting compilation here. Really cool to get to hear a lot of New Zealand metal and hard rock artists for sure. Like I said, disc 2 is where it's at for me, but if you are into more core stuff, disc 1 is where it's at for you. If you come across a copy of it and you like metal, I think you should pick it up. So let's turn to the vinyl. Up first, some 7-inch. So going from New Zealand to Australia, this is In Excess and Jimmy Barnes, Good Times. And on the other, so that's on side A. On side B, you have Laying Down the Law. And Yeah, I think it's called Laying Down the Law. Let me just double check. Yeah, Laying Down the Law. And yeah, so I think I've heard Good Times before, way back in the 80s. But I didn't know Laying Down the Law. So Good Times, yeah, that's pretty much a good descriptor of that song. It's fun, uplifting, 80s 80s rock meets kind of rock and roll or swing or something like that. There's a rock and roll feel to it, but it has an 80s production for sure. Good song, Good Times, good song. I really enjoyed it. Laying Down the Law is a maybe more interesting kind of deep cut, perhaps. Although I do enjoy Good Times more. There's a bit of a creepiness to Laying Down the Law for some reason. Don't know why. But very, very, very good stuff. I really enjoyed listening to both of these songs on this single here, and on the other 7-inch right here, Electric Blue by Ice House, and on the other side you have Over My Head, also by Ice House. And this posted here is a note from Metal Downunder, and it says Australian pop rock, and it was the first band that Nathan from Metal Downunder ever saw live, so that is really cool. I really like Electric Blue, that song. That's, to me, it's kind of almost like an AOR song. It has some distorted guitars and like pumping guitars, and an AOR styled chorus. Just really sing along friendly. Really enjoyed that one. And the other one, Over My Head, is a nice pop rock song too. I think the pop rock part to me is Over My Head, while Electric Blue it's more of a rock song without the pop part, in my opinion. So there you go. Up next we have this one here, Bulletbelt 9 Centuries, on this very bright yellow vinyl. This is thrash metal, very blackened thrash metal, female fronted. This is from New Zealand, by the way, and their vocalist has an awesome, just harsh singing style. It fits this music perfectly. One thing that I think is very interesting is that side A is a bit more thrashy, a bit more it's a bit more melody on side A too, while side B has some at least 2 just all-out black metal songs. And this is great. This rocks. This kicks ass. I like the guitar tone. The guitar tone is a bit dry, but it fits the music very well. The logo is really cool too. I like how it says Bulletbelt, and then you got something that looks like bullet belts, but at the same time it looks like, you know, like some maybe moss with a tongue and you know, teeth and stuff. Really good stuff. The music kicks ass here too. This is great. If you like your black and thrash, do check Bulletbelt out. And up last, Imperial Slave here, and I think it's just self-titled as far as I remember, signed as well. Nathan's note says hometown band, so that is cool too. And it's death thrash, and I would say, yeah, it's death thrash. It's probably a bit more thrashy than deathy to my ears, but it does have the death parts, and this kicks ass. This is fantastic. It's savage, as Metal Marty Mac would say. Really, really love it. The vocals are from the Jeff Walker school, I think. You know, Jeff Walker and the guy from ARG. It kicks ass. All the songs are great. Most of them are fast and aggressive. You have a little bit of death metal riffage every now and then, but for the most part, it's just thrash metal with an extra oomph to it. Kicks ass. Do yourself a favor if you like thrash metal and check out Imperial Slave. So there you go. Really, really cool stuff that Nathan sent me. I enjoyed all of it. Do check out any of these artists if they sound like they're interesting to you. Again, thanks to Nathan at Metal Downunder for sending me those awesome vinyl and CDs. Thanks for watching.